the Social Services Committee to order.
No, but they're,
Right, Paul. Paul.
Everyone a second to sit down. Okay. First thing is approving previous meeting minutes. Get a motion to approve. Motion. Misso, second Al. Yeah. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Pass unanimous. Current business. Number one, authorizing an agreement with Cornell Cooperative Extension regarding the Home Energy Assistance Program. Commissioner McClave.
Good evening. Yes, we're requesting permission to reauthorize an agreement with Cornell Cooperative Extension to serve as a HEAP, Home Energy Assistance Program outreach, and to provide outreach and certification services to low-income individuals, primarily elderly and handicapped. They conduct home visits. They have 3 sites that they do accept applications, one in the South End, one in Cohoes, and one in Ravenna. And they go to a lot of outreach events and do tabling and things like that. And they gather all of, about 42% of our total heat volume, they gather the applications in last season. That's how much they did. And this is up to it's a $160,000 contract, 78% county, 22% federal.
I'm wondering, why is it that we contract HEAP through Cornell Cooperative Extension, but other social services programs are not? We don't do that.
You mean other services that for Albany County DSS are not contracted out?
For example, like SNAP is, we don't contract with the organization to do outreach.
Well, the state contracts directly with NOAP for the nutrition outreach and education programs for SNAP. HEAP, this, I don't know exactly how it started. It's been going on for a long time, at least since 2000, and we couldn't do what they do.
Yeah.
It's a really good value for our dollar to give it to Cornell Cooperative Extension. They're connected to the community. They're out there. We could not do the volume they do out in the community, doing the home visits, going to the different sites, et cetera. So it's just been a long-standing, very good relationship for us.
Great. Yeah, I'm wondering, have we considered doing something similar with other programs? Like, I mean, you mentioned SNAP is contracted to the state. There's an organization, but Medicaid, TANF, any other services programs?
Medicaid, the state is taking over components of Medicaid.
Okay.
The rest of they're not authorizing benefits. They're not able to. You have to be a certified eligibility examiner, certified by OTDA, in order to authorize benefits. So we must continue to do a large component of the services. They're just doing the gathering and the applications.
Okay, that makes sense. Are there any questions from the committee? Motion? Second. Lockhart, second. Mr. Commisso, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimous. Okay, number two, authorizing an agreement with Hope House, Inc. regarding residential treatment services to women with minor children.
Yes, we're requesting authorization to renew an agreement with Hope House to provide residential services for women in recovery. So this is a mandated service that we must offer, and they're a sole source. They're the only provider of the service in the county. And this is allows women who have children 9 years and younger to stay with their children while they're going through recovery. It's up to a couple-month process for the women. Outcomes for the family are much better if they're able to stay together. This is a $240,000 contract with 5% federal, 29% state, and 66% county share.
Mr. Commisso?
Is this similar to HELP?
I'm not familiar with HELP exactly.
That's something that I believe Matilda Coma, or her daughter, started many years ago. And there's a facility out there in Washington Avenue Extension.
That facility is actually coming up in the next request. That has transitioned to the Marillac shelter.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Is there a need for two facilities that do the same? I mean, is there enough?
This is related to substance abuse recovery. So this is recovery from alcoholism and substance abuse so women in recovery specifically. And so it's a recovery program, not necessarily a homeless shelter.
Okay.
Are there any other questions from the committee? Motion to approve?
Motion.
Second, Ms. Lockhart, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimous. Number 3 on the agenda, amending resolution number 138 for 2019 regarding the provision of family shelter services.
Yes, this did come to you earlier in the year, and we didn't know at the time that Marillac had asked OTDA for an increase in their per diem. They had not received an increase in their per diem for several years. So they put a application together, and they have submitted it to OTDA to increase their per diem from 145 and change to 150 and change per day. So we're just really asking for a revised per diem as per OTDA. So this is 100% federal reimbursement.
Okay. Are there any questions from the committee? Motion to approve. Mr. Clay, second Mr. Reinhardt, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimous. Number 4, authorizing the renewal of an agreement with Myers and Stauffer LLC for auditing services regarding Medicaid fraud, waste, and abuse.
Yeah, this is the second year of a contract. We had rebid this contract a couple of years ago. It is to conduct Medicaid provider fraud audits, and we subcontract with Myers and Stauffer to conduct those audits. So this is 50% federal, 50% state, and it's an up to amount, depending on how many audits that they conduct. So this was done by iPro, so we're still in a transition year, for those of you that were familiar with iPro. We're in a transition year. iPro is still wrapping up their audits from the last contract, and Myers and Stauffer is getting everything in line. So they should be up and running by the end of the summer, doing actual audits. But there's a lot that has to happen to allow them to have access to very, very, very confidential information. So it's a renewal of that contract.
How many audits do you do, and out of how many?
How many audits, well, we don't, how many are done through Myers and Stauffer?
Yeah,
Well, I have to find out how many iPro did last year, but these are big, big audits. There are several $100,000 audits, so I can give you the number per year that they did of different vendors, but they will look at, say, several $100,000 that a vendor has received in Medicaid reimbursement, and they'll take a look at that vendor over a 3-year period, and they'll look at all of their claims for that 3-year period. So it's a very detailed, it's not hundreds, it's really digging very deeply into the providers.
I'm just asking for an approximation, a percentage of how many you do out of the total.
Oh, how many
That's what I'm asking.
How many are audited, how many providers are audited per year?
Yep.
Out of the total providers?
Yep.
Okay. I really have to look that up.
Get you some metrics.
Yeah.
I mean, is it a sample? Is it really small?
We
Where is
look
it?
at, what happens is we look at the high reimbursement. So for providers, say a pharmacy is receiving, out of all the providers, we see a pharmacy is coming to the top as receiving the most reimbursement for that year.
Okay.
So we'll take a look at the top 5.
Okay.
And we'll say, okay, out of these top 5 that are receiving the most reimbursement, we send them to, we say, oh, we think something might be here. So we send that to OMIG. OMIG takes a little bit of a look at it, and they say, yes, you can audit these 4, look like there might be something there. So then we send that to Myers and Stauffer. So this whole process, OMIG tells us who to audit.
They tell you.
Yes,
You don't
they
get
tell
the
us who
pick.
to audit. We don't pick, we identify, we say,
Okay.
oh, this might look like something, but we send it to them, and they tell us then, okay, go ahead and audit.
Okay.
So you have your own metrics that you use to kind of identify?
Well, it's really the big spenders. That's the top, big spender, and repetitive claims, or, multiple claims on a date.
What about a sudden change?
Yeah.
Like if a vendor suddenly is getting reimbursed twice what it was the year before?
Yes, that would be a red flag. So, yeah,
That's a no.
okay.
Ms. Lockhart?
Thank you. Commissioner, I've been around for a while with iPro, know all the issues that went back with it. I know that, I think we're paying this new company $166,000 a year.
Up to, yeah.
Up to, right? I'm concerned that we still have not received any kind of report from iPro on any of the monies that we were supposed to be reimbursed. In fact, I don't even think we know what monies were supposed to be given back to us. And they're just kind of going away, and now we have a new place coming in, 2 years. And to my knowledge, there hasn't been a report on the audits that iPro did, which ones were successful, how much money the county gleaned back to us. Can you speak to that at all?
I don't have it right here, but we absolutely have all those numbers as far as what iPro found. And so again, OMIG makes the decisions on this. So iPro say there was $400,000 of investigation. They found $100,000 potentially of what they consider mistakes, not fraud, really. It's mistakes and omissions is what they call it. So then they go to OMIG, and that provider negotiates with OMIG how much they're going to pay back. And then say they negotiate it down to $50,000. So OMIG will say the provider owes OMIG $50,000. Now what we get back has been nothing directly, because it's a very difficult to explain formula, which is we only get back more than what the state pays for Medicaid in Albany County, which we're really never going to get. So the state pays a large percentage of the cost of Medicaid program in Albany County. So it's never going to hit that number, really.
So
The state is getting,
first.
the state's paying themselves first, and they pay the feds. The feds pay a portion of Medicaid. So they pay themselves, they pay the feds, and then they keep tabs of what they're spending in Albany County, and then they, if it goes over that, Albany County would get a portion of that. But it keeps all the Medicaid costs down. Whatever they get keeps all the Medicaid costs down. So it's all good.
Well, not all good.
Well, no, people that make,
Not all good, I
not for the
agree.
I
providers.
had to say many times when it wasn't very good at all.
Yeah, right, yeah.
It's my understanding that Myers and Stauffer cannot start doing any of their audits until all the iPro audits have been completed.
That's what OMIG is requiring, yes.
We've had a contract with them for 9 months for Myers and Stauffers. How much have we been billed by Myers and Stauffers?
Nothing.
Nothing, thank you.
Are there any other questions from the committee? Motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Bullock, second. Mr. Reinhardt, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimous.
I just want to know what to do.
Okay, number 5 on the agenda, authorizing agreements regarding the Healthy Families Home Visiting Program and amending the 2019 Department for Children, Youth, and Families budget. Commissioner Hagan?
Yes, good evening. The department is requesting approval to accept funding for the Healthy Families Home Visiting Program. This is a program that works with families from the stage of pregnancy up to the child being 5 years of age. The family support workers go into the home. They work on developmental milestones, self-sufficiency, parent-child interaction and bonding, and really being able to look at how to be able to support those bonding with the hopes of, this is really categorized as a child abuse prevention strategy. And so this is a program that has been in Albany for over 15 years and has shown that there has been gains in regards to the workers that interface with the families. We actually, in regards to the amount of the funding, there was actually an increase. So the funding for the program had been flat over the last few years, but we actually received an increase of $122,656. So, you know, as we think about programmatic costs that have increased over the years, you know, it's certainly advantageous to have this additional funding for the program.
Great, are there any, Ms. Lockhart?
I apologize because I didn't look at the back on this, because I'm familiar with the program, but how many families did we deal with last year, young women? Do you know about?
I would say, because between families that discharge, or,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
so on, our contract is for 210 families, and there is a program indicator that we need to serve at least 85%, and we did meet that program indicator. Yeah, so kudos to the folks in the program, because that's an area where we had not always been able to reach the target. And with a lot of advocacy, going out, doing a lot of education and awareness, we're achieving that.
And right into the hospitals. too.
Yeah, the hospitals, the WIC centers, the family clinics in the community, absolutely.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from the committee? Okay, motion to approve. Lockhart, second, Mr. Camiso, all in favor? Opposed? Passed unanimous. Okay. Number 6, authorizing agreements regarding the 2019 Summer Youth Employment Program and amending the 2019 Department for Children, Youth, and Families budget.
Yes, so we are gearing up for Summer Youth Employment 2019. We have received an allocation from OTDA in the amount of, if I could find my paper, 673, I know it's 600,000 and change. I apologize, I don't know where that paper went. But right in front of me is where it went. Okay, so we received allocation in the amount of $658,000. The funding comes from OTDA. It goes through DSS, and then we allocate it to the Workforce Development Board for them to actually administer the program. Of that $658,000, we do keep $45,000, and that goes towards covering administrative costs within DCYF, because we do facilitate some of the coordination of the programming for those youth who do participate in the program from areas such as Ravenna, Queens, Selkirk, and Bern, Knox, Westerlo. So that's $30,000 in terms of administrative costs for DCYF, as well as we have a contract with Cornell Cooperative Extension in the amount of $15,000, because they also help to coordinate in terms of, there's a component of the program where there needs to be some fiscal responsibility for the worker, for the youth that participate in the program, so that as they're earning wages, they're also learning about how to be fiscally responsible, and Cornell Cooperative Extension facilitates that component of the program for those youth that participate in the Ravenna, Queens, Selkirk, and Bern, Knox, Westerlo areas.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? Hearing none, motion to approve. Ms. Lockhart, second, Mr. Reinhardt, all in favor? Opposed? Pass unanimous. Motion to adjourn?
Thank you.
All in favor?